G'day scrappers. Well, what a day I had yesterday on a eWaste pickup. Picked up a whole heap of stuff from an old electrical shop, like electrical repair shop, and they've been going for like 30-40 years or whatever, and they're closing down because times have changed and people just don't use those kind of shops anymore. They were pretty much, they'd repair anything and everything in the electricals, like any kind of DVDs, televisions, even the odd computer, but mostly it was a shop where you'd go and get your little components, like you needed a transformer or an IC chip or a resistor, a capacitor, diode, anything. They had an amazing collection of stuff. Like behind the counter, you imagine not like a normal long counter, and then the wall behind it was massive, and there must have been like 2,000 little boxes, trays, and every box was full of, you know, capacitors and little plugs and pins and you know, resistors, you name it. It was just amazing shop. It's a real shame that it's closing down because there's just not enough of them these days, but you know, people just don't use those kind of shops anymore. You know, you got your old, you know, your older guys that, you know, would go in and they'll buy a little component and they'd tinker around, they'd fix their old stereo system and all that. You know, that kind of thing's really dying down. So, yeah. So anyway, like, you know, here's a few things. A lot of things. A lot of power supplies. It's just starting to rain here. I got. There's at least a half a ton of power supplies, and the van was just chock-a-block full. So this thing here, it's some kind of old switch box, which is quite an interesting one. It's got some really nice old meters here. You can unscrew this and it kind of like comes out. But here there's got, you know, 12 volt converter, 30 volt converter, so it can hook up stuff here. So it might have been something like a caravan power thing. I'm not really sure what it could have been, but yeah, quite interesting. A lot of little components and motors. And the biggest thing in this lot, because they were just trying to get rid of them, were power supply units. So I have got literally almost like a half a ton of power supply units of all kinds. I've got to go through some of them because, you know, like here we've got a Motorola, you know, so some quite vintage power supplies, and, you know, some of them might be, you know, valuable for resale. So I'm just going to have to get together another barrel and start putting in all the good power supplies that could be sold. It's just going to be a lot of research. Yeah, so I thought today, instead of going out street scrapping, because I can't with all this stuff, I thought I'll just go through some of the stuff that I picked up, maybe process some. I'll just see how I feel. Like this whole tub was emptied out of the van. So you name it, there's all kinds of things in here. A lot of junky stuff. Obviously they're trying to get rid of as much bulk as they can, but power supplies absolutely everywhere. Copper wire, got some interesting things. All this you see here came as well. So I got tubs of all kinds of things. I just don't really even know where to start. I got boxes of brand new power supplies. I've got some really interesting things like this. It's a digital audio system. It's reasonably old. It's a Scientific Atlanta brand, so it's a quite an unusual brand for me to see. You know, I can see inside. I mean, the circuit board, it's quite a big circuit board. It's got a big transformer, but you know, it's more of a thing that it might be you know, worthwhile keeping for something. I don't know. We'll work that out. Circuit boards everywhere. I got just trying to just trying to work out what I'm going to actually, how am I going to start processing this. And a lot of it's quite low value. So like this sort of stuff, this is, obviously got nice brass and irony brass, all kinds of things. Just got a lot of this kind of thing. Obviously I don't know everything that's ever been made electronically, so I've just got to, I don't know what a lot of these things are for, and obviously they've kept them for something, but a lot of this kind of thing, I'll just throw this in with motors, just remove any easy brass, just a circuit kind of things. So yeah, quite low value, but I got these fuses. Some of these fuses might have silver inside, so I'm just going to have to keep onto some of them and check them out one day. But this is one of those pickups where I could really use someone that knows about electronics to help me out sort this stuff. I'd let them keep anything they wanted, and we'd sort this sort of stuff out just to work out, what might be, what I should be keeping, what, is, just can scrap out. Like this little, it's got a LED sort of counter kind of thing, and yeah, a little counter. Made in Japan. So, it's got all nice connectors in here, and they're like Bell instruments. Yeah. So I wish I knew what some of this stuff was, so I can, able to determine what to do with it. Obviously this electrical repair shop seen worth in keeping this while they had it, but obviously now that they're closing down, they're no longer going to be, they're retiring, and they're no longer going to be in this industry. They threw it out. So I'm not sure. Some things the guy pointed out saying, this will be good, this is still pretty good kind of thing. Like this Siemens thing, it's another dial, kind of like industrial kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just a switch. But all these little things, to me, I'm just looking at the scrap metal value out of them, like get a little bit of brass out of these kind of things. But for enthusiasts or, electrical people, there are probably things here where they could, really do things with. This one, protista. Don't even know what a protista is. Made in France. Wow. So, obviously some kind of industrial stuff. Yeah, big old switch. And while I was there, picking up, and because they were, probably advertised that they're having a closing down sale, so many blokes were coming through trying to pick up a few little bits and pieces, and some of them were going through little boxes, picking out little things for them to keep. But, and I was thinking, geez, with so many people coming in, and he did say, yeah, we should have had a closing down sale 6 months ago. Because, yeah, there was a lot of people going in while I was dragging stuff out like that. Inside here I can see copper with contacts. We'll have silver contacts, a really nice copper coil in there. And it's quite a vintage looking dial. Some of these I'll keep for like steampunk display, because I do have some old stuff that I like to keep as steampunk, because I want in my next workshop I want a whole section where I've just got all vintage stuff, like dials like this. I can sort of put a whole bunch together and kind of make a interesting display, because I'd imagine a lot of this stuff is probably no longer available. Who knows? But anyway, that's just one box, and ooly dooly, you can't believe the amount of stuff. Whole heap of junk in that box there. I'm just trying to work out. As you can see, if I went street scrapping, I just wouldn't be able to bring anything in to start processing and that, because this will just really get into my head until I start getting rid of it. I've got just some fluoro thing. Oh, a few things. Well, one thing I want to show you. While I was picking up and walking down the aisle and looking at all the trays in the wall, I noticed one tray with gold pins, and I said, oh, they're nice gold pins. And he goes, oh, you want them? Take them, I'll put them in a bag for you. So he emptied the whole tray into this bag and gave them to me. And so that just gives you an example. That's just one type of pin that was in one of like 10,000 boxes. So it just gives you an idea on the amount of stuff that they've got. But these are really nice, almost mil-spec pins. They're kind of half gold-plated. They're gold-plated in two sections, and then there's a section of, actually, there's like a sleeve over the entire gold-plated pin. So it might be worth for me to fiddle around and get that silvery piece off, and yeah, then they're going to be a complete gold pin, and they're really nicely gold-plated. How's that? Gold recovery-wise, they'll be pretty good. But obviously it's just something to add to my pin collection, and yeah, nice addition. Really happy to get that. That was almost worth going to do the job on its own. Even just this little box, right? Honestly, there was over a ton. There must have been like 1.3 ton in my van. It was way overloaded. It was crazy. And as I mentioned, the half the ton was just power supplies. So, but just like a little box like this, right? This weighs, honestly, 20 kilos, about 45 pounds. And it's just things like this, right? This is all brass, you know, but what it is, what these are, who knows, and what they're used for. You know, to me, it's mostly just going to be brass. You know, some really nice little caps here. Yeah, it's mostly all that. Just the caps and these things. Yeah, who knows? Got like little rubber seals. But unfortunately, most of it's going to go as, yeah, just brass. But that's just a tiny little thing. I'm just trying to clear off this bench so I can start processing. And just going through some of the stuff. Like this was a tub of modems that I got from them. They're all old modems. Some of them I'll probably keep as in a vintage, and most of them I'll just process. There were a few interesting modems in here, just really old school. Well, this is a 4-way distribution amplifier. Well, it's nothing spectacular, and it looks like they had a $5 price tag and they couldn't sell it. Yeah, some of these old modems are good for vintage, like the 56 BPS. But if I can find a couple that I saw when I was throwing them in. Some kind of reader. How many do you sell? Twister. 56 kps. So reasonably old. There's an old Banksia. Pretty sure they're Australian modem. Oh, it's got something rattling in there. 28800 fax modem. These are the kind of ones that are you don't get a lot anymore. There's another one there. What's this? Oh, this is, I noticed this. It's an Intel, apparently it's a chip removal kit, or the box was a chip removal kit. And here's something interesting for anyone that knows. There's also, it's DRAM for CRB cards, something. So they're all little RAM IC chips, DRAM, DRAM. Quite interesting. I might have to look up the part number, see if there were. But here's the unusual thing, and it's stamped Intel, so it's original Intel tool. It's got part number and everything. Now, it says it's a chip removal kit. So this is obviously a tool to remove the chips. I'm not really sure how it goes, but maybe these little teeth go in between the IC chip. If I can get a... find a circuit board with an IC chip. Yeah, I am not sure how this little tool would work. Might have to look it up and see if there's someone's got a video on using a chip removal tool like that. But because it's Intel and it's in the original box, I'll keep them, and maybe they've just put these IC chips in there just to keep them safe, because it's got like a foam base. They just pushed them in, so I'm going to have to check on these IC chips. They might be worthwhile. But yeah, I thought that's an interesting thing because it's original Intel. I'll definitely keep that. But I mostly want, yeah, there's something that I like. Like here's one. I want these 28800 fax modems. Because they're so old and they're vintage. Yeah, but this one here is a US Robotics, which I don't see this brand anymore. This was really popular here in Australia in the 90s. Used to see US Robotics stuff a lot, but not anymore. They probably still work, still going. There's a little volume control dial, a little on and off. But yeah, these old fax modems, these are really cool. So definitely keep that one. And I'll just go through and see if I got any older ones. But yeah, it's mostly, the older the better for me. So if, yeah, interesting. Anyway, yeah, this is the best one that I want to keep. And probably that Banksia one. So yeah, the 56, that's a little, that's obviously double the speed of the older ones. So although this one here 36, so obviously the next step up from the 28. So I'll probably keep one of these, one of the 56s, and any other 2880s I see. All right, well, I'll probably start getting onto them as soon as I decide to start processing. Some more modems absolutely everywhere. This is just a phone cable, data cable. My gosh, I've got to start processing. See that? Looks like a giant mouse. It looks like a big mouse. It's a Pix View. Oh, it's got a USB, so it's not that old. Interesting. Yeah, really oddball things like that I like to keep because you just don't see them that often anymore, yeah, so that's just cables. I'll start processing. And I got it's just never ending. What's this? Oh, this is all this stuff here. I don't know why they had medical kind of stuff. There's a couple of boxes of just stuff from like a hospital or something. This is like it says fluid flow to patient. So it's obviously a controller to control fluid, whether it's liquid, not liquid, but whether it's water or blood. I'm not sure what it controlled, but we've got some circuit boards in here. Nothing really spectacular, but yeah, quite an interesting little kit here. It must have been an expensive little thing at the time. Oh, gosh, this is just a this looks like a blood pressure thingo. I don't know why they had stuff like that. Some really, wow, that's a big chunk of brass. Made in Denmark. Okay, so this might have been part of something, but I'll just try and take off this top thing and yeah, try and get brass for it. That's from, again, so obviously hospital. It's non-conforming, so obviously it's nothing really. It's no longer going to be used. You know, just another modem and just some junk. It's been really rainy and terrible. Like the sun's out now. This is perfect Melbourne weather. The sun's out and it's starting to rain, so we get a bit of everything all at the same time. More modems, another 56 kps. There must be 50 modems. This is just, they've obviously stripped out CD drives, so it's all just empty CD drives. Some of them have still got circuit boards on them. Most of them are just bare bone like this. They've got 3 little motors, very low value. It's mostly all just junk. But now that I've got them, I've got to do something with them. Got a lot of car stereos, more modems, a little amplifier, an old Alpine car amplifier. Yeah, audio transmission, remote unit, and then got a bunch of these. They're still new in packet. Huge chunky power supplies, AC adapter. Yeah, I'll have to look them up, see if they're valuable or not, because a lot of this kind of stuff can also come from, you can buy them on eBay China, and you just can't compete from the sellers on eBay China because a lot of them get free postage, so they sell it with free postage and like $10 plus, you know, and posted free. I can't compete with that. This will cost me more than $10 to package this up and send it. It's a really heavy thing, so it's really hard to compete unless it's something a little bit oddball that they're not selling anymore. That's the only way. Or unless it's a really original, because some people want original power supplies. But I mean, this tub here alone weighs a lot just because of these really heavy power supplies. I mean, that's, you know, almost 2 pounds. So, well, that's just power supplies. So I'm going to have to, yeah, a lot of this stuff I've got to process sort of off camera, because I'm just going to be going in, checking up part numbers online, and then coming back. So it's going to take me ages. I don't even know where I'm going to start. I had to, I want to process that first because it's just too heavy to even carry around. I think I got three boxes of these power supplies. They're brand new in packets, right? So obviously they couldn't sell them, and you know, I don't know why they would have 3 boxes of them. They must have sold a lot of them at a time. I think there's 64 in every box, so there's almost 200 of these alone. And they're NEC, so they're original power supply. So I'm going to have to look up this power model number and see if they're actually selling, because it's NEC and original, and I've got them brand new. It is old school because it doesn't have the black insulation on there, but still, as an original power supply, I'll have to check one of these out online. So yeah, that's just, goodness me, it's just one of those pickups. I get one of these every 3 or 4 months, where it's a ton of stuff, but it's all little components and it's all very time consuming and low value. But what do? You advertise to pick up e-waste, you know, well, they say, well, this is all e-waste, and come and pick it up. So you get there and you're not sure, you know, when someone says, oh, we've got an electrical shop and we're closing down, we want to get rid of pretty much everything, come and pick it up. You've got to go and you've got to start taking stuff. And even though like half the van was loaded up, and I already realized that there was just very little value in what I was taking. There was value like, you know, copper and all that sort of stuff. Like here, all right, there's a nice little motor here. There's quite a few motors like this. Most of them have got little tags on them so I can identify them, but a really nice precision motor. And it's got little things there where you can put kind of like little pulleys or something, I don't know. But you know, boxes of stuff like this, some kind of reader, what can I do with that? It's basically just scrap steel, you know, cut off a little bit of wire. I don't even know what it is, but I'll look one up. So you know, as I'm picking up, I'm dragging things out of the shop. I pick up a box. I think, oh, that's a heavy box. But you know, I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, what is that? And you know, it's because you know, when I'm out there doing a pickup, I'm trying to get value so I can. You know, I mean, that's what you do it for, to try and make money. But I was seeing just such little value in a lot of the stuff, and I was thinking, oh, I hope there's stuff hidden that I'm going to get more out of. Like, here's a couple of boxes here that as soon as I picked them out and I was dragging them to the van, I think, oh yeah, this is more like it. I can see definite cash. So look at these. They're just terminal connectors, and I can't see myself needing to use anything like this. You know, you'd put the copper wire through there and you'd crimp that down, and you know, they might be, you know, handy terminals, like if you're doing setting up, you know, power, like a power wall, off-grid kind of power, and you need a cable like this, because they wouldn't be cheap. There's a really thick chunk of copper in there, so I don't want to just process these for the copper. Even got some nice strands ready to go. They're pre-cut, the insulation, so the electrician, you know, comes along, whips that off, connects it into something. But it's beautiful thick copper wire there. So yeah, obviously I wouldn't scrap these out for copper right now until I work out what to do. Like when I, you know, if ever electronic enthusiasts come and see me, you know, I'll have a few boxes of stuff for them to go through and just tell me what can I do with this, what can I do with that kind of thing. Is yeah, nice. Obviously worth, even though there's beautiful copper in here, probably these are probably brass, this end. You know, good copper, but geez, you know, even if you just needed one of these, you'd probably pay what you'd get copper out of the whole lot. And yeah, a lot of this sort of stuff, well, not a whole lot, you know, I'd like more. This is just regular leads, just blank dual core ready to go leads. They're all right, but these red ones, right, really really nice. See, they're pre-cut, really nice thick copper there. So, you know, good to put through the stripper, but because they've already got the crimped on end here, just a female plug, and really nice lengths, these will be like high powered cable for something. So I'm in that sort of split thing, you know, whereas, you know, do you strip it for copper or do you, you know, actually keep them for something? I mean, I'm not 20 years old anymore. I can't keep these for 50 years. You know, so when am I ever, I just can't see myself using this sort of stuff. Maybe someone into electronics will come and they'll say, oh yeah, I can use them, I'll give you a $1 each or something. What else we got here? Modems, little switch, lots of modems. So they were trying to, a lot of these modems were just sitting on the shelf and they were trying to sell them all as second-hand motors. So they just sort of threw them all off the shelf. And this is an interesting thing too. I have no idea what these are. It's just rolls of, they look like IC chip pins, but they're really super long, so I'm not really sure what, I'd love to know what these are, but yeah. So, you know, if you can imagine, like, and this one's probably the easiest one to see. Oh, I'll try and, okay. Wow. Yeah. So you can see the little pin ends, the little pointy ends on both sides, and then you got your plate running through the middle, and they're just long pins, and just like they would even be hard to remove out of this kind of like plastic. So it must go in some kind of machine or something, and it just dispenses pins like almost like nails on a nail gun. And I don't even know what the metal is on the main thing. I mean, if it was silver, then it would be worth trying to recover. Anyone know what they are? Because I don't. Timers. Oh, speaking of timers, I'll show you these bell timer things. This is 20 volt, 1 amp. So they were trying to sell all this, and obviously they didn't sell. 12 volts AC. So this is what I mean by electronic tinkerers would probably have a good time going through a lot of this stuff and getting things that they can get value out of. Check out this. See, this is another box of this cable, and this is even heavier grade. So it's got nice little jacks on there, really heavy copper, and they're just what are they, 2 foot lengths, 2.5 foot, beautiful copper. So this is really heavy stuff. Like, I don't know what these would be used to power up. Okay, so we've got different grades. Selectronics, what do we go? Yeah. So you obviously buy these from a manufacturer already made like this, like they already pre-cut. So they have really nice copper lengths. The slightly thinner ones, well, these are just blanks, no things, but still, it's better than mid-grade insulated copper. All worth stripping this. Wow, check it all out. Look at all that. That looks beautiful. So what do I do with it all? It's not worth stripping, because I know that these pieces are going to be a lot more expensive than I'd get value from the copper. Who would want them? Interesting. Well, that's another good one. There we go. It's about, I don't know, I'd say about $40 worth of copper if I stripped it. You know, here's another one. Cut leads. Yeah, how's that? You know, really small ones. Gosh, I just wish I studied electronics. I would know what to do with them straight away. Oh, look at these green ones, and this has got tinned copper, so I can't even strip these because, well, I can to sell the copper, but I wouldn't melt tinned copper because it really messes up with the color of the bar. So yeah, tinned copper. I've got little plugs on them, and then this massive, yep. And it's all tinned copper, and these are again about 2.5 foot tinned copper, ready to go. I don't know, but you know, I do enjoy going, you know, picking up from shops like this, especially when they're closing down. Just can't wait for a couple of weeks time. Hopefully they'll give me a call and say, okay, we're just about to close. We've gotten rid of everything that we can. Come and pick up the rest, and that might be really interesting. Oh, these things I wanted to show you. I got 2 boxes of them somewhere. These are the timer bells. They're like, you know, the bells in microwave ovens. I don't know if you heard that. It's a little timer bell. So it's ticking away and slowly spinning, and I no doubt when it hits the end it'll ring or something. It's obviously, it was worthwhile for the electrical shop to hold on to these. Maybe, you know, once in a blue moon someone will come and say, yeah, I need one of those timer bells. But what am I going to do with them? That's the question. All I can think of is just throwing him into scrap motors and get some motor value out of it. I've got 2 boxes of them, and there's a couple of rows of them. So there's 25 or so. So 50 in a box. I must have 100 of them. So I'll definitely keep 20 or so. In case someone one day says to me, oh, you know, what I'm looking for is these timer bells. Oh, I got 20 of them. Oh God, more modems. And here's the real common thing I've got. It's just power supplies. I already showed you 3 boxes of these NEC power supplies, but these ones, there must be, I don't know, hundreds of these too, because I got boxes of these everywhere. And these ones, they're just generic AC/DC adapters. Well, see, these ones are different. These ones are, the output is 9 volt DC. So these ones he was pointing, I think he pointed out these power supplies to me. He was saying, oh, these ones, you know, these are 9 volt, you know, they're handy. 9 volt DC, 1 amp. So hundreds. I mean, this is just one box. I've seen probably 4 boxes like this alone. Okay, so I might start processing some things before I start unraveling more, because this is going to be probably I don't know, I still got a big tub under there or stuff, so I might just start getting rid of some of the things and working out what I'm going to do with all this kind of stuff. I'll look up some part numbers and yeah, start getting rid of some of this stuff, and then I'll start getting into this tub and anything else that I can see around here. You know, what's this? Oh, how's these? Look at this whole box full of these. You know, you can just see that they're kind of a bit old, but what is it? A TV antenna booster with two outlets. Okay, see, well, I think the problem with this is from analog TVs, obviously, and Australia now is all on digital. We no longer have analog TVs going. So, okay, so we just got a little power supply. So what can be done with these now? You know, send them off to a country, third world countries. A high gain TV signal booster. Okay. Well, definitely worth keeping because they're brand new, but you know, you got 12 volt, 12 VDC. Okay. So, yeah. If anyone can give me an idea on what I can do with this in today's day and age with digital, I'd most likely not much. But again, let me see here. 1, 2. Oh God. So there must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. So it looks like there's about 35 or 37 in this box by the looks of it. Yeah, well, maybe more. 47, because I think there's 50 pieces in that whole box. So that's just another thing. Oh, they're just batteries. Send them off for recycling. It'll be interesting there. And they also repair CB radios and things like that, and so I'm hoping that I noticed some old CB radios around. Hopefully I get them in the second batch, as well as testing equipment. They got old oscilloscopes and things like that. Oh, this shop was just amazing, and it's a real shame that it's closing down, because there just isn't shops like that anymore. But as even the guy was saying, you know, like people just don't do this kind of thing anymore, where they go to an electronic shop and, you know, they buy little resistors and capacitors. There's just no real need for a shop like that. I guess because online also, if you need a special resistor or a packet of 10, you just go online, you buy them from China really cheap for like $1 for a packet of 20 or something. So yeah, but I'd imagine 20 years ago people would have been thriving in his sort of shop, would have been coming in all the time. Yeah, I need, you know, X capacitor, I need X IC chip, I need a plugs for connectors, and I wish I could have made a video of the actual inside of the shop. Maybe I'll try the next time I go there, if they call me back in a couple of weeks. I hope they do. I don't know if they will or not. But yeah, maybe then I can just do a little video of inside the shop, and just give you an idea on just how intense, like the wall. It's a giant wall and so many trays of every component known to man. It's just, I don't even know how they knew where everything was. It's just the sort of thing. Hey, what's this? An isolated DC AC power tech. Is it an inverter or? Yeah, it is. It's an inverter. It looks like it's been opened up. There's a plastic thing in there and reclosed. You know, well, this is something that there's some parts in there. I don't know if it's been half scrapped out or what, but this is a good little thing, kind of off-grid kind of thing, put into wire it up into my van or something, you know. Might be a good thing. All right, well, I'm just going to have a little bit of a break, and I'm going to start processing this, and I'll just turn on the camera when I actually start processing it. First, I just want to take some of these power supplies and just make a start with these to at least know of a few with what I'm dealing with. And if they're no good, I'll just keep 1 or 2 of each and just process the rest. Okay, so I established value on 3 of these power supply units so far. There's so many more different varieties, but at least I'll get rid of 3. So these 9-volt AC adapters, they're a dime a dozen, and yeah, as I expected on eBay, these particular style, not the exact one, but pretty much almost identical, they're selling from eBay China, and they're only like $7 or $8 each. But the problem is that's with free shipping, so it would cost actually more to just ship it out from here in Australia to Australia. So yeah, so people aren't going to pay anything for it plus shipping when they can get it for less than half price just from getting it from China and waiting a couple of weeks. Yeah, I can't really do much with this one. So I thought, well, I might as well just cut the cord. I thought about like putting a whole lot, like say in lots of 10 for $30, but you know how many people are going to want lots of 10? So usually people are only looking for 1. So this particular one, I've just got to scrap these out and just get rid of them. These big ones, again, they're actually not very very popular. There's a couple of them selling from Europe, mostly in Germany. So I'm not going to bother with these. These are super heavy, so they're going to cost a lot of money to post anyway. So I'm not going to worry about these. I don't have that many to worry about them. So all I'm going to do is just keep 1 in my power adapter collection in case. Yeah, and it's got an unusual plug, so it's really specialized. So all I'm going to do is just keep 1 of these. I'm just going to process these. But these ones here, the NEC, they sell for about $12 each, or maybe, yeah, something like that. Original NEC, it doesn't seem to be the original ones coming from China or anything similar. Again, they're a 9-volt. So what I'll probably do with these, because I've got these in boxes, I might put these into stock, and when I start listing on eBay again, I'll just try and I'll see if I can start selling these, but I doubt it. I just got too many of them, you know, so I might end up just keeping 1 box, processing the lot. Just depends on how I got with room. So that's them 3 out the way anyway, and I'll just do the same with the next power supply I see come through. So I'm just going to make a start here, just try and get rid of 1 box at a time and see how I go. Just got my little tub of cable there, and yeah, that's all I can do. And I can't get into the big barrel of stuff until I at least get rid of a few of these boxes. So yep, that's all I'm going to do with this box. Just cut the cable straight off, cut the little telephone jack off. There we go. So yeah, reasonably low value, but hey, when you get it all for free, we just take what we can get. But there looks like there's some better cable underneath, so yeah, some of these This one I won't worry about because I've already got a lot. So I like to take out these pins just to, because I keep these plugs for gold recovery. And so getting rid of the pins now and throwing them into scrap metal, it just means that there's less weight when I'm storing these plugs. There we go. Good. And this one too. Sometimes the gold is really light, but these ones aren't bad. There we go. Yeah, these ones are really good too. Got a family of crows hanging around. Yeah, so quite an amazing pickup, you know. And I'm having a little bit of trouble with my microphone. I'm just waiting for another adapter to come through the week. So it's a bit hit and miss whether sound actually comes through or not. So that's a problem. But yeah, it cut out what I was trying to say earlier when I was in the driveway, was that I was going to go street scrapping this week, but because I've got this pickup, it's there's no way I can, could have gone street scrapping this week and brought in a whole heap of stuff to process when I've got to get rid of all this, so I had to just make the executive decision to not go street scrapping this week, process as much as I can of all this stuff, and then go out fresh next week. Yeah, because there's just too much here, I've got to get on top of it. And so maybe this video will supplement one of the street videos. I was really looking forward to go street scrapping, and but this weekend was probably the coldest weekend we've had in a long time. The rain was pretty heavy, and the wind, and yeah, it would have been pretty hard to go out there street scrapping this weekend. I see already that next weekend the weather's just going to be just so much better. So it kind of turned out all right anyway. But yeah, all right, I'll just finish off this box, and I'll go through. Geez, they're very small little cable here. Little odd ones like this, sometimes I like to keep them, but these ones are so small, such a short cable, I just can't see the use in it. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just keep plodding along and get rid of this box, and we'll go on to the next one. Okay. Well, that's one box done. One out of many. Excellent. There's one bit of cardboard we can send off to recycling. All right. Most of the cardboard boxes are as old as the stuff that is in them, so they're all falling apart on me. The box of batteries just collapsed overnight. Okay, so with this cable, this is, I don't have to process this yet. It's just too good to process, as I've explained. It's all, get rid of some of these black ones. Yeah, most of this I'll just keep until I can spend some time on it and just assess whether strip it, sell it, or what. Yeah, but yeah, it's just too good to strip. And these things, well, I've got to keep them because, you know, one day I might want to rig up some kind of off-grid power setup, and never know. If they don't come in handy, I can always strip the copper out another day. So I'll get rid of this box. Alright, well, here are the ones that I'm not going to sell, and that's just a absolute nightmare. So what I think I might do, although most of the weight is in the copper wire, just don't know whether I should, be interesting to see just what's inside. Need a super small screwdriver for this one. Out you come. Okay. So very basically made. See, it's just a tiny little low-grade board. Got a little bit of brass here. Oh, a little bit of brass. That's probably the most value. Oh well, these boards. See, these boards are only like 25 cents a kilo. So, open up every one of these, and sure, I could smash them, but then I'm just going to have plastic everywhere. I do this whole thing, and I'll be lucky to get 50, 60 cents worth of board out of it. Out of, you know, processing it for over an hour. So, yeah, I might just throw some of this into low grade. At least this batch here. Antenna wire, Christmas lights, ribbon wire. I think I can get rid of a little bit there because, you know, to tell you the truth, I'll actually probably do better off just selling it as low-grade insulated wire. Yep, I think for now I'm just going to get rid of this whole box into low-grade insulated. Still get $1 a kilo, so for the amount of time, you know, spend 2 hours on that to get a couple of extra dollars. You know, I can spend that 2 hours going out street scrapping and bringing back $50 worth of stuff, $100 worth of stuff. You know, for finding items to resell. Okay, well, we're starting to get a few things done. These bells, I think I'll get rid of this top layer of bell and just put these in motors and transformers, because they kind of They got like little motors in there, I guess, you know, and it's copper and brass and stuff, so it's pretty much similar to a motor. So I'm quite sure they will well, it certainly beats just keeping onto them for the odd chance some person will want one. I'll just get rid of this dusty old bit in the bin. So, because these ones are nice and clean, I've got another box somewhere, so I'll probably just take the top layer off the other box, throw that out, and then put them two together. Okay, this big tub, it's too heavy to even lift, so I might start processing this next. I'll just get rid of all the DVDs and modems, stacks of them. Yeah, I think this will be the next thing. There's another batch of these motors. Oh yeah, I put them aside here. They're like induction motors, made in Japan. Really, really nice. Big one here, small one here. Don't know what they would be handy for, but some might like them. This one here, I'm not going to worry about. Just put this in motors. Get a bit of weight. All right. Here's all these power supplies. So I'm just going to big AC adapters, very oddball, so the chances of me needing one of these is very, very slim, but I'll just keep one and I'm going to process the rest. And yeah, they got security screws in there. It's just going to be a transformer, so I might just crack one open and see what's actually inside it. I mean, I know what's inside, it's a transformer, but I'll just see whether these ones are easy enough to crack open. There we go. Yeah, quite actually not too bad. The plastic didn't sort of shatter into 1,000 pieces. So these might be okay to, yeah, these are okay. Just get the transformers out like that. They're actually got quite nice copper in. These aren't the ones that you can really pop open. Really hard to get. But they've got quite a nice wad of copper. So yeah, that's probably what I'll do with these. At least get 50 cents a kilo for the transformer and still get $2 a kilo, or actually more, for the wire, because I found the better scrapyard that pays quite a bit more. Actually, it's about 20% more for insulated wire. So it's like, instead of $2 a kilo, it's $2.40 a kilo. That's a big difference. So all right. It's a little power amplifier, the Alpine one. There's pretty much nothing in there. The little low grade board very little value in the board, seeing that it's just, but we've got a bit of aluminium, extruded aluminium heatsink here, so I might just pull this apart too. Alright, I'll just clean up all these, bust open all these. I've got one for myself. Okay, now just to cut the wires from the transformers, process the plugs, and we've got some value. And a bucket full of rubbish plastic. There's one. I suppose just to get rid of all the transformers, and then I'll process the wire. Get rid of most of the weight off the table from the transformers anyway. Okay, so there was 28 transformers or power supply units turned into transformers. So currently, if they're around 55 cents a kilo, there's 22.8 kilos. There's $12.50. So $12.50 worth of transformers. I mean, you know, it took a bit of work, a bit of effort, but still $12.50. Compared to what I've got, it's all going to add up to a, you know, quite a decent amount. So that's okay, just for one bucket full of transformers. Okay, so with the cable, because now I'm getting $2.40 a kilo, I just put it at $2 a kilo to make up for the plugs. Still get the brass out of them. But 3.9 kilos, so $7.80 and $12 something. So that's $20 out of all those power supply units. You know, $20. It's not bad. I mean, obviously, if I could sell just a couple of those power supply units, Like I still got 2 here, but I just couldn't find any listed apart from a couple in Germany. So they must be for something very oddball. And obviously the electronic shop couldn't sell them, so I don't think I've got much of a chance either. And like I said, this would cost probably at least $12.95, so $13 to ship this, and I still have to put it into bubble wrap before I put it into the satchel. So $13 to ship, and what are they going to pay for it? You know, $10. So they're going to pay more than that shipping. It just doesn't work like that. And that's why, you know, like when I pick up e-waste, you know, from especially places like this, these kind of unusual pickups where they're a clear out, you know, they'll say, oh, you should, you know, be able to get some value out of this. And yeah, we get value, but I mean, by the time you sit there and process it, you know, your hourly rate is so low, it's not funny. Like here's a HP old school power adapter. I'll have to have a look at what it powers. If it's just a printer or something, I won't worry about it, but it could be, you know, something that is still sort of used today in collections and stuff. So power supplies like this, old vintage ones, I definitely keep. You know, you just saw this Sony power adapter. Because it's a good brand, and where a lot of people like to keep Sony products, vintage stuff, these power supplies can turn out to be very valuable. And it's the sort of thing that's not sold in from China, usually original ones anyway, that's for sure. But yeah, the older they get, the less likely you got to have competition that someone's going to have it. So this is a 24 volt output power adapter. But yeah, I try and look up as many as I can, but wow. But this is it. This is the life and times of an e-waste recycler. It's not all IT equipment. Sure, I think I picked up, it might have been 6 PCs from this pickup, so it was still pretty good. 6 PCs is pretty much all I expect to get from like a small office. It's usually PCs and printers and stuff. That's pretty much what I got. So this, okay, so these are Nokia, looks like cell phone, yeah, Motorola. Some of these might be good, but I don't have the patience to process this kind of stuff. It's just too much work for a small business, you know. There's hobby level, yeah, okay, if this is what, you know, you get one pickup a year and you want to make the most of what you're getting, fine. But all this, I'm just going to put this straight into low grade. There we go. Job done. Thank you very much. So that just saves me a lot of work. If I had to pay someone to help me process, I'd go broke in the first month, because wages are very high here in Australia. Like minimum wage, probably the cheapest you would get is like a base rate of $17 an hour, but then you've got to take into account work cover, insurance for that person. All right, you could never risk not having insurance, so you got to have work cover. You got to pay, and that's full time, $17 an hour. So you'd have to pay sick pays. We get about 9 sickies a year. You have to pay public holidays. All these days where wouldn't be making any money anyway. Yeah, and obviously annual leave, 4 weeks a year. So, but you put them on casual, and then you're starting to pay about $22 an hour as a base rate, 22, 23 an hour. You still got to have insurance and stuff. That's a lot for my size of business. You know, I can't afford to pay someone that kind of money, because as you can see, I can spend hours on this and only be earning a few dollars. Once again, these are kind of like just, yep, cell phone, power supplies, Samsung, yeah. So if I still had my whole collection of cell phones, this would be pretty good. I'd be able to match up a lot, but I don't anymore. And that's it. Done with it. $1 a kilo. This box was probably about 7 kilos, so $7. And easy cash because it's just straight in. Okay. So more. Okay, looks like some good ones in packets I'll go through, but these ones, not going to waste time with them. It'd be interesting to see when I get to the scrapyard with them, because I've got a new scrapyard to go to. They're just paying much better prices. I'm basing on the old scrapyard at $1 a kilo. It might be a little bit more too, you know. What's this? It's oh, that's weird. It's some sort of, it's got a little switch. It's a really heavy little rod. It's something, telegrams, Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, so it's something for a telephone. No idea what it is. Looks like it's kind of like bakelite inside. And it's got a little switch. It's not an antenna or something, because it might be some sort of signal thing, or it's very unusual. I like this sort of stuff. I'll keep this till I work out what it is. Okay. So this cable I've got to process, but not today. Straightforward. I've got better things to do right now. So I'll just put this in one of my working bins. I always get them down to 3/4 and then fill them back up to the top and down again. Okay. So this was, okay, so this is all, oh no, which one was these? Oh yeah, yeah. This is the NEC powder. These are the ones that kind of could sell. Because they're brand new in box, I can just keep this as stock for, I haven't sold on eBay for quite a long time, but when I do start, I've got a lot of power supply units that I'd like to start selling again, and CPUs, because I'm building up a bit of a collection on CPUs that I need to get rid of. So I'll just keep this here. I think I've got 3 boxes of them. When I can organize myself, I'll just have them in stock. So I figured I'd just do a similar to the street scrapping videos, where I'm the scrap session videos, same kind of thing. A bit of a scrap sessions when I do unusual pickups, and just how I process things. And for some of you that are doing this as a business, well, you kind of can get an idea of my day-to-day thing. So here, this is just junk scrap metal, But we do have a couple of motors, you know. Well, one motor there, and this be a nice copper coil under there because I like my copper. But it's not the sort of thing you do business-wise, you know. So this is all extruded aluminium heat sinks. Obviously, except for this one, it's got the copper stacker in the middle. So I keep them separate. I cut out the copper and then throw it into extruded after that. So this one's nice and easy. Just the other week I emptied out this extruded, so yep. Oh. There you go. It all adds up. Well, extruded is actually at this other scrapyard. It's $1.60 a kilo, something crazy like that. So it's really good at the moment. So this kind of stuff is for business-wise. When you're picking up e-waste, you know, there's no work involved, and it's instant cash, you know. That's more like it. But the beauty of my little small business is, even though I don't make a great deal of money, it can be okay sometimes. But look where I am. I'm at home. I got washing on the line. I got my chickens I talk to. You know, I go inside, make a cup of coffee. I go in and make a sandwich. You know, if it's a hot day, I'll go in and, you know, I'll bring out a beer and have a couple of beers outside. And if I feel like it, I'll just go out and go for a walk around the park or through the neighbourhood for 20 minutes or half an hour, just to sort of clear the mind and all that from processing stuff. I might plant something, you know, in the garden, put some new fresh parsley in or something like that, or pick a few fruit or a couple of chilies. So that's kind of what I make up for in having this kind of business, that it's reasonably hard work and it's reasonably low income, but what offsets that is I work for myself. I've got no one saying, oh, you know, you're late, or go on lunch break, or go and have to ask someone if I can go on a break, or I've got to go to the toilet and I've got to rush to go to the toilet, and all that, you know, have to be where they want me to be. You know, when you're working for yourself, yeah, it's kind of worth sacrificing a little bit of money, that constant income, and to be able to just basically do what you want, you know, depending on your age. If you're in your 20s or 30s and stuff, well, you know, you probably got all that thing happening, a young family, or you're got a mortgage going, or you're paying the rent, and, you know, you can't afford to just have a little business where you can just plod along. And if you don't make money for 2 or 3 weeks, it doesn't matter. It just depends on your age limit. But for, you know, if you're getting up there, the older you get, the harder it is to get jobs these days. So if you happen to be retrenched, unemployed, look for maybe look for something that you can do that you enjoy, and you can do it in your own sort of time. You can, and because at the end of the day, it's all about lifestyle as well. I'd be stressed out if I had someone telling me what to do. So anyway, well, I think it's pretty much just power supplies, and it's just boxes and boxes of power supplies. What was this? Oh, this is the other box here of bells. I hope it's not all just bells. Oh gosh, let's get rid of that. There's got to be. No, it looks like it might just be bells. Oh, well, okay. So definitely this box of bells. Come on, surprise me with something different. Oh no, bells. Well, at least it's a really nice clean box. So this might be the box that I keep. Yep. More cardboard. Deal with so much cardboard. Oh well, at least I send it to the right areas. Get it recycled. We've got a problem enough with recycling here in Australia at the moment. Hard to get rid of it. Okay. Yeah. So 5, 10, 25. So 50 in a box. There's a spare one. 51. So I think I don't really need any more than 50. So I'll get rid of the other batch. So okay, well they're not called bells, they're called timers. I guess I'll just have to look up one of these part numbers. 30C98 810P. Yep. 30C98 810P. So they're all the same. Be really interesting to know what they actually come off. So before this video is over, or I'm going to go in for a coffee anyway. This is my keeper. Don't say that I don't keep anything, but at the same time, don't say I'm just a hoarder. You know, this will come in handy. This will come in handy one day. You know. Yeah. I'm not really a hoarder. I don't see myself as a hoarder. A hoarder to me keeps stuff that's absolute junk, or just keeps too many or something, and is not realistic. I'm at least a little bit realistic. Like these, they're all brand new, but I know that I'm not going to be using so many. So sell them as motors, get the cash. It's fun scrapping and processing e-junk. Let's call it e-junk. He had a lot of CB radios. This one isn't a CB radio. I think we were looking at that earlier on. Some sort of it is part of a CB radio or some kind of old truckie. Yeah, because that's, yeah. So this might have been actual telecom vehicle. In their vehicle, their own communication back to the base station or something like that. I think it's quite neat to put to a CB collection, just something different. All right. Another box bites the dust. More modems. Oh, yeah, this sort of stuff. I'll just test it out. See if there's much brass in there. Like if the screws are brass. If not, nah, the screws aren't even brass. There'll be little brass plates in there, but just not worth sitting there to not even get 1 cent worth. Yeah, some of these. Okay, so there's copper in there, so I can just put that in with transformers. So I'll just sort through this. Most of it's going to go as just a scrap metal, and I'll keep with these. These might have good silver contacts in there too, by the looks of them. I can see nice copper plates. Yeah, a lot of this. So yeah, yeah, it's all steel. Yeah, yeah. So apart from these ones with the nice contacts, I'm going to I'll just put the rest of this in scrap steel, because it's, yeah, the screws and stuff, they're not even brass, so yep, just junk really. Okay, there you go, full bucket of scrap steel stuff. Excellent. I think most of this is just scrap steel too. Oh, actually, you could probably put these in motors. Because it looks like there's a, I don't know what they were. I'd like to open one up just to see what's under this plate. And I think this plate's, it's aluminium as well. Yeah, stainless. Yeah, it's just a circuit board with a bit of copper on it. Yeah. Yeah, just a bit of copper. It's got like a little squishy thing in there. Interesting. But because it's got, actually, it doesn't feel like aluminium, it feels like brass. It's a bit too heavy. But yeah, it's brass. How's that? Yep. Definitely brass. So that's a nice chunk of brass actually. So I guess I can just clean that off. Just some low grade wire. And that, that's just like fiberglass board with just copper. That's probably just too much, too fiddly to, yeah, it's, spring, don't know what they are. Yeah. But if each one of these is brass, it might be worth just spending a little bit of time just to get the brass. Again, it's turns into low value, but it's pretty quick. That's just too much brass to give up to just throw them into scrap steel. and then just might as well get the low grade wire, even though the whole lot won't even be 20 cents worth. And I'll just throw this into scrap steel. I suppose I could put it into irony brass. Just doesn't really look much like irony brass. This is going to be me for the next 20 minutes. Because I certainly don't know what these are, and I don't particularly care in this case. Again, if it's good enough for the electronics shop to get rid of, and it's good enough for me to get rid of too. All right. Yeah. Okay, leave it with me. Okay, well, I'm on my last one. Yay. I'm glad that's out the way. I've got a nice pile of scrap steel. That can go. That's one thing out the way. Got a box. Okay. I'll just got this all this brass, quite a lot. What do we got? Just over 5 kilos. So, well, there's about $22, $24 worth of brass. So that box was worth it, you know, 24 bucks worth of brass. Didn't expect that much. Also got a whole bunch of low-grade insulated wire that we can put on top of our power supplies. So that was alright, plus, you know, the insulated wire and the scrap steel. So I'm saying, you know, I'm guessing at around 25 bucks for the whole lot. So that's alright. You know, if we can get 20, 25 out of every box, that would be awesome. Alright, I'll have to deal with this brass. I can't get to my taller bin there. But that's another good thing out the way. I kept a few. What did I keep? 6. So yeah, I've kept 6 just in case someone says, oh, you know, I could have used one of them. Well, there's 6 here. In case you do. Alrighty. Well. And check out these. Oh yeah, all these kind of like industrial fuses. Like this is just one giant fuse, and it's all ceramic, and that would be copper, tin plated copper, possibly brass, but they're usually copper, tin plated copper. Yeah, I might have to look this one up, because sometimes I don't really know what this is. It probably isn't a fuse. It might be something like that, but you know, if it was a fuse, it could have silver, a nice rod of silver, and it's usually pure silver, but I don't know with that kind of thing. These little industrial type fuses also can have silver inside this ceramic. It's just like a silver fuse. I know someone that processes these and gets quite a bit of silver, but they don't all have silver. A lot of them can be just copper or even aluminium. This one's unmarked, so I'll just have to check that out. but all I'll probably do for now is, because I know what they are, and I'll process them when I've done a bit of research on them. So tech fuse. Okay, so these ones have got identification on them, so you know I might be able to find out whether they've got silver. They might have that kind of information online. 25 amp, 32 amp. Interesting. And yeah, tech fuse. So I'm not sure whether they, oh yeah, okay. I might just keep these, because someone might want these. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's more fuses around, so I'll just keep this little tub just for fuses until I finish up with everything here. Yeah, it'd be nice to get rid of this tub, get back a little bit of floor space here, and then yeah, I can start getting into this. Oh yeah, this is all those fuses. Wow, look at that, like shotgun cartridges almost, hey. They're nice fuses. Pity these ones don't have any part number or anything. I'll definitely keep all of these for when I do silver recovery and I try and get every last bit of silver. You never know. But like I said, I know I've got a friend that processes industrial fuses all the time. He recovers the silver, and you know, he was saying that not all of them have silver. In fact, a lot of them don't. Okay. So again, industrial piece, really no good to me at all. I'll keep it there in case anyone sort of says, hey, I want that. Well, you can come and pick it up. I'm not going to post, but otherwise it's going to go pretty quickly. Okay, so this is it's also tech fuse, 100 amp. Yeah, I might keep that. Because I don't know when I'm going to build a big workshop, and you know some of this might save me some money down the track. It's one of those military kind of boards. Yeah, it's a very, they're brand new actually. Interesting. It's like a glazed IC chips, but spectacular gold pins here. That's the gold what we want. Really nice. Even these gold-legged, what might be resistors or something. Yep. And these ones that pop out. Really nice little gold. It should be removable. No. Thought they would just pull out ones, but yeah, they got gold bases and yeah, little good, good quality vintage tantalum capacitors. These silvery ones, even the small ones, they're all actually tantalum capacitors, even though they're very, very small. But yeah, because I've got a little bunch of these, I'll keep, you know, one goes in my oddball little collection. I like old vintage looking circuit boards. Oh wow, more fuses. Wow, all kinds. Nice little ones. Oh, these would be great if there's actually silver in these, because yeah, there's so many and so big. There's pretty much every size by the looks of it. Fuse master. Yeah, every size you can imagine. 45 amp. 63 amp. Two-way speaker selector. Huh. Strange. Yeah, it should be good contacts. Pretty much more of what I was keeping. Let's just throw these out as scrap steel, just keep these. There's another one. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's really much in these things as far as silver recovery. I'll just keep them because they're brand new. Yeah, I might just put that in transformers because it looks like there's a copper coil in there. Wow. Pretty happy with these fuses. I'd love to know what they've been used for. Oh my gosh. What are these? $15 amp, 125 AC, little switches, little buttons. Well, these would be handy for someone. I might even look these up and try and put these on the vintage radio for them, because these might be handy little button switches. You know, you build up a console or something. And look at them all, brand new. Yeah, I'll have to. The box is really poor condition. It's it's almost about to crumble up. So I'm going to have to find a new little box for that. What do you want? Got another tub back. Now I'll be able to start getting more into this sort of stuff. So by the looks of it, most of this pickup, there are boxes of circuit boards, but it's mostly only low grade. But most of the pickup is power supply units. Yeah. You know, if it wasn't for these PCs down here and a couple of DVDs, I forgot all about all these power supply units too. Wow. And yeah, this box here I want to go through because it looks like some nice vintage stuff. More power supplies. And yeah, part of the pickup was this sort of audio and all these half scrapped out kind of non-repairable TVs, flat screens. So pretty much just junk. And I also had to take printers and a lot of car stereos that I don't do anything with car stereos. They're just not worth it. But at least I've got a decent amount for a scrap steel run now. Yeah. phones, data cable. Well, this would have been nice if it had the all the ICs in there, but still, it's got some nice big older school tantalum capacitors. Take them. These gold pins, they're not too bad, but they're not spectacular. These gold pins here are pretty good. These ones aren't that good. Just see the deepness of the orange, whereas these ones are more yellowy. But yeah, it would have been nice if it had the ICs in there. You never know. Yeah, just sort of custom boards. All I want is just this copper piece, the rest in low grade. Yeah, there's another one. This one doesn't have the base pins, still got the tanties. I'll have a bit of fun going through this stuff, cleaning it up. There's a nice HP board. Yeah, this kind of thing can go as telecom grade. Probably have to remove this, but yeah, I might just depopulate this one and get these nice ICs. Yeah, just low grade. Can get rid of this straight away. So that's low grade. It's just base metal recovery, copper, aluminium, stuff like that. Low grade. Yeah, I just got a feeling it's going to be pretty much more of the same, aside from the stacks of modems that I got. That'll be a whole session. And there's the rest of these boards and these unusual ones. Definitely keep one of each. That's a heavy extruded aluminium heatsink. That's heavy, man. Now look how solid that is. That's thick. It's over an inch thick in this wide part. Okay, so weighs about nearly 4 pounds. In she goes. All right, show you. This will be the best box to go through. Little switches, modems. Yeah, all these boxes. These are all pretty useless for me. Yeah, not much I can do with them. Get rid of the circuit board out of that. It's extruded aluminium. Clean it up. Here we go, mid-grade board. Uh, 20 volt, 1 amp. They wanted $15 for it. Looks like it's got a little light in the middle there. Yeah, oh, it's got a plug and everything. So I don't know what it is, but he obviously connect up some wires here. 20 volt, 10 amp box. So I'll just keep this as it is. Some might want it. Okay. This looks like another box with plug and nice switch. Quite old. Fuse. So I mean, how you know, for someone that doesn't know what it was, how are you supposed to work out what it was? It's got a fuse in there. Okay, that doesn't tell me nothing. It's just got nothing here. I can see the circuit board in there, some quite large capacitors, and just on and off. Well, on and off what? But I like old things like this and unusual. Here's another one. It's okay, so obviously there's a whole theme here. So there must have been something. This 12 volts AC. Okay. Someone's probably looking at this video saying, "Oh, that's, you know, that's one of them, and it's one of them." And here's another one. It's just got a push button box. So it might be like some kind of tester. Here we go. Wow, this is heavy. Now what on earth is that? Looks like it's been handmade. It's like PVC piping, and then it's just, I don't know what it is, but it weighs heaps. And it comes into this box, and then we've got a power cord on the other end. It might, you know, it looks like might be it's got holes here, might be a speaker, and then a light. So you might press it, it might make a sound. So this might be something that you put over something. It might be a big magnet. You reckon? Don't think so. Or some sort of coil in there, but it's definitely handmade because I can see the PVC piping has been cut, and the you know, the thing. So, but I don't want to open it up just in case. You know, I'm thinking it might be copper coiling because it's, you know, powered. So if anyone knows what that is, so it looks like it might even have a little speaker here. It's got a push button and then a light. And you just sort of, this must go onto something and it plugs into power. So, well, that's very, very strange. Looks like here's another one. Yeah, it looks like similar. Output 9 volts AC set to, there's probably just a transformer. But all it is just a huge cable and then another little cable with just a little jack on it. No idea. So I'll repack them into a box once I get out all these modems and junk. And someone that knows, like this had $8 on it, but all it is just an empty box. And I was still trying to get $8, obviously, for some sort of, you know, with a little switch. An enthusiast that needs a little box for, that's pretty much useless. Aluminium. Another one. Okay, so obviously they're testing something. That's an interesting 5 female, you know, 5-prong female socket. Just that's it. So that connects into something, and then they've got a push button with a green light. That's strange. It's another kind of thing. Well, this one's more common. You put your wires on there. Obviously, this is obviously all testing kind of equipment. I'll get a better box and I'll repack all these testing things, and someone might come along and say, I could really use that sort of stuff. So I'm going to have to start sorting out some of this now. So let me just clear up some of this. Get rid of that brass. Clear up all these testing boxes. Very unusual. But I'm sure someone knows what they are. Just never gotten so many of them in one go. But at least it gives me an idea on, you know, just the real weird ones is this one. It's just got a switch and a fuse, and this one, what is that for? Connects to this box. What on earth does it? Or the black box? No, it connects to this black box. Looks like speaker, button, light, power in, and this cable, which is pretty heavy duty cable for this thing. Crazy. Alright, I better start cleaning up a little bit here and see what else I can do from this mess. Right, so I've cleaned up a lot of this stuff, processed a lot of little tinkery things. Now I just want to finish off some of this stuff and start preparing myself for street scrapping again. But yeah, it's mostly power supply units, so I just want to get rid of as many boxes as I can. So, and also just want to wind up the video. Be interesting when I go to edit this video, because I'm not sure how much of it is actually going to be worthy of putting up, but we'll see. It might turn out okay. I think this is looks like an old school alarm panel. Yeah. Yeah. Not much here. Just need to get rid of it. I'm glad I don't get pickups like this very often, because it's quite low value and so time consuming. This is the kind of stuff that I like to process in downtime. This is, to me, it's more hobby level stuff. You know, I just wish I had more storage space where I could keep some of this stuff for a rainy day when I really feel like having a bit of fun. Because when it becomes a job, then, you know, it's a different kind of ball game. But when it's just for fun, then I love this kind of stuff. Just a little power supply here. Okay. Just a strange old transformer. I'll process this a little bit later. It's just going to take too long for the video. Alright. Looks like it's got an aluminium base and that, but I might just use this as a scrap steel cavity. This is probably the only interesting part, computer communication adapter. So, cutler hammer, really, you know, quite old school. So this is probably, most likely will be the best thing out of the whole thing. Keep losing. I've got screwdrivers right in front of me, but the ones I'm looking for, it's like right in front of me, but I just don't see them sometimes. It's a bit like when I'm street scrapping, you know, and I'm looking at a pile, and sometimes there's things right in front of me that are kind of what I'm looking for, but I just don't see them. And sometimes this is kind of like an aluminium, rather than just cutting the cords off and putting this whole thing into gold recovery plugs and pins. You know, if I don't have too many, I prefer to just process them straight up, at least get rid of this kind of stuff. In this case, these ones are actually just plastic, believe it or not. That way I can just cut off right where I would when I go to start processing. And this is actually a really nice about the best gold pins in this kind of plug, because they go all the way through. Alright, so rather than bothering, I'll just cut that off. Alright, there'll be, yep, again, nice little gold pins in these. Just snip off the back plate, pull off all the ribbon wire, and there we go. Beautiful pins in there. There's another one. These female ones, well, they still should be alright. Alright. Now, so on top of keeping up with other things, people coming in to sell me circuit boards and stuff, this pickup has already taken, this is the third day now, because I can't get onto I just can't stay processing it constantly, because yeah, I've got people calling me or coming through. I went out and done a little office pickup. Wasn't much. A few printers, a couple of PCs, a couple of laptops. Just the standard stuff. A little box of cables. So yeah, it's third day onto this sort of stuff, so it seems to be dragging on, but I did manage to clear off a lot of this stuff, and there was a lot of little, really fiddly little bits that I spent a couple of hours on, so they're processed and out the way. Well, quite an intense little board. I like to get the sticker off the EEPROM. This one's only silvery, you don't see any gold, so but still we keep them. Yeah, not a bad looking board. It's still only a mid-grade board, nothing spectacular, but yeah, okay. And this board here, it's like another EEPROM. No, just a regular IC, but removable, so we can put that in with ICs. Nothing much here. It's, you know, almost a low grade board. Oh well, it's got some ICs here, so we can get away with mid grade, but always got to get rid of the battery. Yeah, nice. Oh well. The rest of this, nothing else for us really here. Put that in for scrap steel. More of this rubbish. Another alarm box, quite an old school one. Beautiful. There we go. I'll clean the wires off. Side cutters here are getting a bit blunt. Yeah, so removable IC, the long crystal I want. There's also kind of like a, looks like it might be a crystal. When they're coated in plastic or something, I just leave them on. The rest I'll just leave, and yeah, kind of really it's more of a low grade, might just get away with it being a mid grade. So because there's barely any IC chips on there now, and you got a transformer, you got all this dead weight of all these screws and stuff, so really not much in the value there. Yeah. These little black things here, these long, they're diodes, so they're okay for silver recovery, but pretty hard to get silver out of them anyway. So I don't bother with this kind of stuff. Silver recovery is just a different ball game. It's very low. Silver's just not worth enough to justify spending so much time trying to get a few grams. You know, when silver's only worth, what, 50 cents a gram or something. All right. Well, that's another thing out the way. Well, these ones were interesting. I'm just going to have to look these supplies up. Yeah, because they're brand new in packet. They're very old school. They don't have any like adapters to them. Some do. That's got a really strange adapter on there, but I like them because they look interesting. US trucking transformer, double insulated. So I'm going to have to look these ones up first. Yeah, a bit of well, this one's no good. The wire's all corroded. It's got some kind of corrosion that's leaked onto it. I don't want to even bother with touching it. But I'll use this one to take inside and see if it's actually worth something. I should have realised Tyco, I just didn't think. It's their model trucks and you know, the little racetrack electric track trucks and cars. So they're power supplies for, yeah, just little little things, but they're listed on eBay, but you know, mostly in the US, obviously, and they don't sell for much. I've seen some as cheap, like in the US, for about $7, and you know, most of them are like around $12 to $15. But I couldn't find this one with the code 3003. So yeah, not sure of the vintage of them, but you know, they're probably something from the 80s, maybe 90s. This shop would have had 6-volt transformers. They would have had a lot of these. Looks like they were only selling them for 6-volt transformers, $10 each. You know, and they've probably had them for years. But some of these good clean ones, what I will do, I will keep a few just in case there is a collector of vintage Tyco. See, a lot of these, they've had some sort of corrosive stuff sort of leaked, spill onto them, maybe from, they might have had batteries on top. So I'll keep a few nice clean ones if I can find any. There's one. Yeah, just in case someone bobs up and says, oh, I could really use a few of them, you know. I just, you know, they can just bring me a couple of other things to scrap out in replacement if they can use these, because the price that they're selling for, again, shipping for this kind of stuff just outweighs any price. But then again, it's not the sort of power supply that, you know, you can buy from China or something. So they've all had sort of like battery acid or something. They've all got this battery acid, you know, corrosion. Well, there's one of those Sony 4.5 volts. I want to keep these old Sony ones because I've got them before. They've come off stuff that, yeah, might be worthwhile. Alright, I just want to find one more. It's still got the plug. 3, 4, oh no, I've got 4 of them. 4 is enough. The rest of these I'm just gonna process. As you know, as I keep saying, if a well-known hobby electrical shop, repair shop can't sell them over 20 or 30 years, then someone like me's got no chance. So I think, well, there's going to be obviously a transformer in there, but I don't know if it's going to be worthwhile busting them open. We'll see how they pop open. If they pop open easy enough. Yeah, hey, you know, just a tiny little transformer. Nothing spectacular there, but still better value than what it was. Get me brass. So all the resources still get done. Okay, so I'm going to have to just process them off video. Oh, this is more of these things, yeah. Well, I can't really do anything with this. It's huge. Yeah, anyone wants one of these? Because I can't see any value in it for me. Got 2 of them. Okay, some more of these things. And here's the bases. How's that? That's like a ceramic as well. Wow. Wow, that's heavy duty or what, hey? My gosh. Next time I get an electrician come by, I'm going to ask him what on earth would that be used for? That's insane. What's in that one? Oh, it's a smaller one of the big ones. Yeah. I've never kind of seen them. Lost it. I'll have to get to it later. But yeah. I've never seen them in operation. Oh, here we go. Okay. So it's these, more of these little ceramic things like that one. They must be obviously, well, they're obviously fuses or something. But they're just sitting in there. Well, I wonder if there's possibly silver in there. I know that that's copper. We'll get a bit of brass out of that. Oh, well, at least they've shown me what it actually is. But I still can't see any value in them for me. Alright. This is in the too hard basket until someone can tell me what it is and what possible use they could be. Otherwise I'm just going to have to scrap them out. I want to process all these circuit boards, low grade stuff. Yeah, just to get rid of them. Yeah, so well, that's funny. This company here is only just around the corner, yet where I picked this box up from was miles away. But I might actually keep this. It's a printer buffer. It's quite old school, but it's you know, and I reckon there'll be a good circuit board in there, but it's just a sort of vintagey looking thing. All right, so I think I'm done here, guys, as far as the video is concerned, because the rest is all pretty much the same kind of thing, except for this CB radio. That's interesting. I might put that aside because I've got a good collection of CBs, or not a good collection, a few CBs, so I'll put that with that for now until one day I want to play with them. More AC adapters here is another one that I'm going to have to look up. Yeah, it's all pretty much the same kind of thing. Vintage power supplies. Nothing really that interesting. Oh, another one of them things. Boxes. More power supplies on there, so yeah. Mostly a pickup of power supplies. It's crazy. Alright, well, I'm just going to continue on here. Hope that was a bit of fun for you guys. Nothing really exciting, I suppose. You know, some interesting things, very old school electronic stuff. Got a ton of modems to get through, and yeah, it hasn't been too bad. As I said, maybe in 2 weeks' time they're going to call me back to get all the little things. That's going to be like, I'm going to have to really go hard here and clear off all these boxes of stuff, because eWaste is starting to build up again, to make myself room. Like, if I get all the components and stuff, I'm going to have to keep it all under cover and really do something with them. try and pass them on or something like that, you know, like who knows. Anyway guys, keep scrapping. Next video should definitely be street scrap. Until then, I'll catch you next time.